Hello. So this time we have our trampoline which has a nail sheet. Now that means if the ball is going to drop on the nails, it's going to get punctured. So the mission for today's project is to save the ball. Okay, so let's get started. So the nail sheet. So let me just quickly show you. So what I did was, just kind of did a cutout of the trampoline, and on that fixed the nails. Just using one of these circle shapes, elongated it, and just pasted it around. And there we have the nail sheet ready. Code of our basketball. So what we would want to happen in the game, the ball should start from the top. So let's set its position and show it. Okay. And now what we want, because we want to not drop it on here, what should we do? Whenever we click on it, whenever we click on it, it should just bounce up. Should just bounce up. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the event when the sprite is clicked, and to show the bounce up, let's just use changing the y. Let's just add to y certain random number, right? So between 30 to 146, and we're going to pick up the random, and after it has gone up, maybe we can have it just wait for 0.1, and then it can glide down anywhere, coming down anywhere here, right? So let's pick up another glide, and for the Y we definitely want it. Okay, first let's code before we attach it to the event, right? So we definitely want it to come down and touch the nails. So our Y is basically going to just vary between -55 to -11, and our X is going to vary between -200, and it can be all the way till 168. Check this out. So when the sprite is clicked, this is, it's coming down really rapidly, and then if I click on it, I do manage to keep it up. We can slow it down maybe a little bit here, maybe. Now it gives me enough time. I can make going up slightly faster. Okay. So now if it touches the nail sheet, we want to get it punctured. And if it punctures a lot, then it's just completely damaged. We're not able to bounce it back. So first thing is get the puncture. get anything to count, to keep a value, to store a value, what we use is a variable. You're going to create a new variable by clicking on make a variable. You're going to call it puncture. So a variable can belong to just the sprite or all sprites. So we'll just keep it for the ball. Now when the game starts, we're going to set puncture to 0. Since if it is touching the nail sheet, or we can keep it in the same event. Right? We will need a loop to keep checking it, and we will need a if condition. Say that if the basketball is touching the nail sheet, then we want our variable puncture to change count by 1. We can even play a sound. Let's see if we have some. We can change it to some kind of puncturing sound. So let's first play the sound, change the count by 1. And yeah, let's see. So one thing we observed that when it was getting punctured, and by the time we could respond, it kept really increasing the time. So we could allow the user with a bit of time. So let's just give maybe 0.3 seconds. Is that too much? Let's do something. If the user is just not able to save the ball and it keeps getting punctured, at certain point we should just puncture the ball completely, right? So let's check what is the puncture count, and see if it reaches 5. We can just burst the ball. So how do we check that? So we're going to get an operator, get this equal to. So if this is equal to 5, now what is equal to 5? Yeah, our variable puncture. So if puncture is equal to 5, we're going to show it bursting. Now let me just show you. I did make some bursting costumes already. See, this is the bursting basketball. You can burst it the way you want. Okay. So if the count of puncture reaches 5, we are going to switch the costume so it has burst, and after bursting we don't want to leave it hanging looking ugly, so we can hide it. So let me show you a way to make coding clean. So we're going to make a block and we're going to call it puncture me. Okay. And this code block puncture me, we're going to add this here, this piece of code. And now if you want to puncture, just make a call to that function. Okay, now one thing, because we have punctured, that means we have changed costumes. So remember that our initial costume needs to be set so that the game starts with the proper ball. Oh, it's throwing it right here. Was that so? Was that too quick? It just very quickly disappeared. Maybe a weight of 0.2 and 0.3 is better. We are now going to add more fun elements and some very interesting coding blocks. So what we want is multiple balls to start dropping, and we have to save them from getting punctured. Now when we say multiple balls, maybe one of the first things we think of is creating a duplicate of our sprite and have them do the same things. Now there is a better way to do this, and that is by being able to create a different instance, a multiple instance of the same sprite using code. So Scratch gives us a very powerful method of doing that. So if you go to Control, you'll see there are these 3 blocks at the bottom which you may or may not have paid attention to as much. When I start as a clone, create clone and delete this clone. So basically create clone gets us started in creating a clone, and then when the clone gets started you want to tell it what it should do, and that is where you give it code on under this block. When I start as a clone, what to do, and then when you're ready to get rid of that clone, you use delete this clone. Okay, you can see that 3 different shapes. This one always ends something, this one is always a start with a round on top, and this one is something which connects. So let us see how to get this into working now. So we are going to use our clone blocks. So as soon as the game starts, we want to create the first clone. So we are going to add our code to the initial portion. So when green flag clicked, blah blah blah, and then create clone of myself. One interesting thing to note is what to do with the original. So there are 2 approaches to it. A, we can have the original do the same things as the clone. B, the second option is we can just hide it so that we don't have to bother with the original and only work with the clone. The reason I'm choosing latter is because it is just easier to have all the code under when I start as a clone, and I won't have to repeat that same code for the original. So just less bother. So after creating the first clone, I'm just going to hide myself, the original me, that is here. And what I also want to do that after every certain interval, I also want to keep creating more baskets to drop. So we'll pick up another similar forever loop, and here we can choose to wait for whatever time we want, and after waiting, create the clone. And a reasonable good thing to always do is, if you especially gaming and you want to keep some kind of count for the player, is keep a count of the clone. So we are also adding a variable and we are calling it basket count. So we are going to set initially basket count to 0, After we create the first clone, we increase it to 1, and every time we're creating a clone, we keep the count to, we increase the count by 1. So now we've got our clone creation part. All right. Now what we want to do is, when I start as a clone, okay, so now what we're going to do is the code which we had for when the sprite clicked, we're going to change that code for when I start as a clone. Now when I start as a clone, one more thing which I want to do is the clone to always start from the top. The ball should always appear on the top. So what we do is we just duplicate this glide and place it whenever I start as a clone. And for housekeeping, we will also keep a show. Now we'll make the same change wherever we earlier had when spike clicked. Now that code needs to happen. That code needs to run when I start as a clone. So I'd go and make those changes. So here I've made a change. When I start as a clone, the puncture count is going to be maintained here. Now one additional thing which I've done is when to get punctured, because I want some kind of formula. So I just use a little bit of math, saying that when punctured mod basket count becomes 3, at that point I want it to puncture the ball. Okay, so let's see how the code runs. So the ball drops. It is getting punctured very quickly. It's not meeting that mod, the mathematic, it is not matching the mathematical operator, and none of them are getting punctured. Ah, there they go. Okay. So we ran the code a few times, and based on 2 observations, what we did, we reduced this timing here to 5 seconds so that more balls get created, and change punctured by 1. This is happening too quickly, so we will also increase this time a little bit. Let's see. What will you add to this game? Think about it. Just not think. Remix the project and add on. Ta-ta.